Devlog number 2 of my game that I'm working on, a sandbox strategy game called Everlast. Similar to any other tower defense game that you have seen, maybe like Balloons Tower Defense and so. In today's devlog, what I wanted to work on was getting the graphics settings done. It just currently I want to get it done and add some functions and just keep it in the main menu at the moment. I want to have it be available throughout the game so that you don't have to go to the main menu every single time you want to change some of the graphics or just change the volume. But I have to figure out a way to implement that without like messing out how the settings are throughout the scenes. But we'll see how that goes. But for now, what I want to do is just get the UI ready. I don't see a lot of videos of how to make UI or just UI videos on Unity as often as I want to, especially if you're like a designer that's into making UI. Not that I'm really into it, but I like to have my UI be pretty, you know. Just what I like to go for is something simple, minimalistic, but still functional. So that's what I'm going for in my UI. As you can tell, there's not a lot of buttons, there's not a lot of crazy graphic UI. It's just simple UI with colors that match each other, so it's not too crazy. I'm going for like a specific theme. I want to make sure that all the buttons are the same color. That way you can tell that it's a button and you're able to press it. Also the UI, like the text, I want them to be white for like static text. And from later on we'll see what we can do from there. Maybe change it into a different color depending on the background. And the background, I want it to be between red and green depending on like the function. If it's a functional background, something like changing like a graphics settings or selecting the level, I want it to be green. Now if it's just going to be a static background, something like information about the game or like your stats, I want it to be red. So I'm kind of contradicting myself here by having the main menu be red. I'll have to change that. But yeah, I got the UI working. It's just basic UI. You can change the resolution and the graphics settings. Something that I wanted to do, because I believe when you ship a version on Unity, your game on Unity, and someone opens it, they get the balance or like the medium settings. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can definitely change it, but it will be nice for the player to actually change it, just because not everyone has the same computer. Main menu is working. Also, another thing that I wanted to do is make sure that the buttons are a prefab. That way I can change all the buttons at once. I want to make I like making my games as procedural as possible, or like reusable as possible. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do for the button. That's another thing. This video is just mainly focusing on UI. I just want to show that it works, the different settings, how they look in game. But yeah, another thing that I wanted to add was a full screen or window version. Didn't add it here, I believe. I ended up adding it later on throughout the video, but yeah, it's still there. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to make sure that I can make this procedural as possible. Here's footage of how like the game looks throughout different graphic settings. Your SPS should be boosted. Now there are some things I have to work on in scripts, especially on how to manage the time. As you can see, since everything is based off delta time, when I change the speed for the game, everything else changes. So I have to go back and fix that on the scripts. Might be in the next episode just pretty much scripting. There wasn't that much scripting in this video, just because I already had the scripts done for my previous games. I just grab the scripts and drop them in. That's why I said, if you're gonna be working on games, make sure you figure out a way to make your scripts be reusable. throughout multiple games, or just your game be usable throughout the whole game. So yeah, here's me making the buttons procedural, like I said, more reusable. You can change whatever the button does, and the graphics that would change throughout the entire game, so you don't have to go back and edit a button one by one, which will take just unnecessary amount of time. So yeah, if you're starting off a new project, make sure you do this early on, so that way you can just drag the prefab into your UI, and you can use the same button all the time. You can add animations to it, and it would just change through everything. It's just a way. Just figure out a way to make your games procedural. You will save a lot of time, and it's just so useful. I don't see a lot of people talking about that too. When they do devlogs, they try to make everything static, but yeah, like my freaking mindset is like, work smarter, not harder. So if there's some things that you can save time on doing, or making your workflow faster, then just do that, because devlog or game development by itself is just takes so much time. So that's why I want to let you guys know, if you're like into this, then my probably only tip that I got for you guys is just figure out a way to make shortcuts. Not shortcuts that would end up hurting you later on because you're too lazy and want to take shortcuts on everything, but shortcuts that would increase your productivity as much as possible. And yeah, just quick tip that I got for you guys, even in life, I guess. Another thing that I implemented was, before the turrets only had 2 levels, so it was a default level and then the other level, and then it will be maxed out. But I implemented another level by, honestly, it was kind of complicated. I'm not sure if this is the proper way to do it code wise, so we'll see from there. But yeah, as you can see, it has 3 different levels, and once you max that out, you won't be able to upgrade the turret anymore. It's just a max level. But yeah, it's pretty much just an integer in the turret. Starts off at 0. If you upgrade, it goes up to 1, and depending on the number, the int, then that's the level that the turret is based off. So yeah, probably not the best way to do it. I'm not gonna show the code just because it's spaghetti code. It's like horrible. You don't want to see it. But yeah, here I have the different prices for the shops and how many levels each turret has. So yeah, I have to fix a lot of my code, make it a bit more procedural, like I said in my previous video. But yeah, just the whole mindset. That's what I want to do, is keep my game as procedural and reusable as I can. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this devlog. If you enjoyed, then stay tuned for the next one, and link in the description to download the game.